WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News this morning starts now.
Good Thursday morning. Take a look. This is something we're going to be talking about all morning. This is Des Moines, Iowa, where overnight strong, damaging winds swept through.
Those winds impacting areas from Colorado all the way to northeast Wisconsin. And it is a first alert weather day. We're talking about the strong winds that we are feeling this morning.
Yes.
You really feel it.
Driving in, Steve, yeah, you could just kind of feel your car getting pushed a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I would avoid some elevated roads, like certain bridges on days like today where the wind is just so incredibly strong. Fierce winds today on this first alert weather day. It's going to stay windy all day. The temperatures are heading down. We'll be falling through the 30s through a good chunk of it, and skies will try to clear out as we go into this afternoon. So your severe weather outlook is moderate this morning. High winds with gusts up to 60 miles an hour could cause widespread power outages, property damage, tree branches taken down. We're still under a high wind warning across all of northeast Wisconsin until 9 o'clock this morning. You're probably wondering, so how are the winds right now? Out of the southwest, sustained around 30 miles an hour. Gusts this hour, 58 miles an hour in Green Bay, 56 miles an hour in Sheboygan. But since midnight, we've had even stronger wind gusts. Look at Rhinelander. The wind gust got up to 76 miles an hour. Now, if you could sustain that for a longer period of time, as opposed to just a gust, that would be a hurricane force wind. So coming up at 4:40, how warm was it yesterday? The highs were generally hit after dark. Hourly pinpoint predictor temperatures coming up and a windy school day forecast. Catherine and Tammy.
Steve, thanks. First alert happening now. Damage from those high winds. Lots of reports of trees and branches down in our area and wires too, but major damage is limited.
We want to take a live look now at some of that damage that we found overnight. This is the intersection of Hubbard and Oakland in Green Bay. It's taped off where a tree has been reported down on the road. So this is just west of downtown Green Bay. Right now we don't have any injuries reported anywhere.
We're tracking outages too. Looking at the map here from poweroutages.us, Menominee County right now has the highest percentage of customers out in our area, about 2,300 customers. Brown County has more than 5,000 customers out. But look at the outages across north central Wisconsin. Those are higher.
And there's wind damage in that part of Wisconsin. Here's some overnight video from Stanley. That's between Wausau and Eau Claire, the town's main area there. The Broadway Street was shut down. It is shut down for several blocks as crews assess the damage there.
Buildings have been damaged, leaving shingles and debris in the streets, but no injuries reported.
Green Bay High School switches back to virtual learning after a threat was posted on social media last night. It is the third threat now against that school in this week. Students will not be allowed in the building on Thursday or Friday. School district leaders say today there will be no formal classes, and on Friday classes will be moved to virtual learning. Police are looking into that new threat. 3 arrests were made after a threat was posted over the weekend and another was posted Tuesday. The school district says it will have a plan for additional safety measures for in-person classes for next week.
433 Highway 141 in Marinette County remains closed this morning as crews continue to work on clearing this. The Marinette County Sheriff's Office says one person died in this major crash. A truck here, it derailed a train. It happened around 11 yesterday morning, and authorities say dense fog was to blame. A box delivery truck had stopped for the moving train, and so did a truck behind it. A third vehicle then came from behind, hitting the truck and causing a chain reaction that led to the box truck striking the train and bursting into flames. A man died and 2 others were seriously hurt.
It was more confusing than anything because the visibility was so low. It was like driving through a bottle of milk.
People need to slow down and be careful. I mean, I raised my voice at some of them coming by me when I was trying to set up. And you know, what do? You feel a little helpless out there.
And we want to show you on our first alert traffic maps exactly where this is. Green Bay here to orient you. I'll take you north on 141 to Marinette County near Pound where this crash happened. The purple here is the section of 141 that is closed. And so for your detour, what you'll do is use Highway 64 and then Business 141 to get around this. And the DOT right now is telling us they don't have a timeline on when 141 will reopen. We have live coverage of some of that wind damage, reports of wires, branches, and some trees down. Kristen Allen is live on Green Bay's west side.
Good morning. We are on School Place near Maple Street here, and you can see this giant tree that was apparently knocked over, uprooted here, and so it is kind of blocked off this whole little street. This is a little residential street, and you can see it's laying in the middle of the road here. And if you take a look, you can actually just see how it was just kind of sliced in half down here, and there's just honestly a big mess on the street. If you continue to look over here, you can see there's a car with another tree just not quite on top of it, but surrounding it. You can see it's a really large tree that was uprooted. You can see there's lots of very, very large branches. I just happened to be driving by here and kind of came across it, and at that time earlier this morning there was police officers here and also a fire truck. They have since left, but I imagine that they're kind of calling people in and deciding how they're going to clean up this mess, because it is a lot that is on the street here, and it will take some time for them to get it cleaned up. The wind is very, gusty out here. It's been just shaking, just being in the car, so still very windy out here this morning. We'll continue to keep an eye on conditions and update you throughout the morning. Reporting live in Green Bay, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News.
All right, Kristen, thanks. You can just hear the wind there as she was reporting live. So now take a look here at power outages. This is a map from poweroutages.us. It shows 2,300 customers out in Menominee County, 4,000 are out in Shawano County, and nearly 6,000 are out or without power in Brown County. This is right now. And WPS tweeted overnight that its crews are busy out there making repairs. The most significant outages, those are across north central Wisconsin.
And there's significant wind damage in north central Wisconsin. This is what Stanley looks like overnight. The city is between Wausau and Eau Claire, right off of Highway 29. The main road through town is being blocked as crews, you can see here, cleaning up shingles. There's plenty of building debris as well, but no injuries were reported.
The wind caused damage all around the Midwest. This is some video that our partner stations have been gathering. Gusts more than 90 miles an hour did this damage near Omaha, Nebraska. There's damage to houses, insulation thrown around, people working overnight to patch holes in their walls and roofs.
And there's damage in southern Minnesota. A bank in the city of Heartland just torn apart there. The winds were strong enough to toss the bricks around. Minnesota reported its first ever December tornado. And we'll, of course, be following the windstorm all morning.
6:04, more news. A man is now hospitalized with a self-inflicted gunshot wound after an hours-long standoff with police in Hobart. Brown County SWAT says they responded to Centerline Drive early yesterday morning. And look at that fog. It was for a report of a person firing a shot during a domestic incident. Police say the man's girlfriend called 911 and told them she was hurt, but she was not shot. Officers tried to contact the man they believed was holed up in his apartment. Eventually, they discovered he was not inside and a manhunt began. They found him in foggy woods. You could see just so foggy yesterday near those apartments. Officers say the woman's hand was hurt, possibly broken.
It has been quite a year.
It has, and I think I said on the air that a year ago it was the beginning of the end, and who would have predicted we'd still be here?
And the thing about that is, as Prevea as a whole, you've given a 250,000 shots of COVID-19 vaccine. And with that, you've talked about the hope that comes with that.
And there still is hope. But who would have predicted, after giving that many shots and opening up mass vaccination clinics and everything we did, that we would have experienced the pushback that we have. I mean, whether you call it an anti-vax movement or a misinformation movement, we were there trying to bring an end to this. And we would never have predicted the pushback, the people that, just didn't quite understand and still don't quite understand the need, that the only way out of this, and we said that a year ago, this was our way out. Vaccination was the way out, is the way out. And to still have that pushback a year later and not have given more shots. We gave 250,000. Hopefully, I was hoping maybe 500,000 by this point, and getting everybody vaccinated, now boosted. And there's a frustration level with that, but also we got to celebrate what we have accomplished too.
And you talked about that, the beginning of the end. That's what you said right here on our air a year ago. And today you're learning that Wisconsin is outpacing the rest of the country in cases.
Yeah, if you were to look at our cases per 100,000, and we've talked about that almost every week now, cases per 100,000 is a good benchmark. You can see this map right here. And if you actually were to rank order us, we're number one, and number one in a bad way. We have the highest number of cases per 100,000 in the country as of yesterday. We are the worst state in the United States when it comes to the number of cases per our population.
And we're talking about hospitals. We talk about that. We were talking about that a year ago, Dr. Rye, not overwhelming those hospitals. We ask how serious it is. I want you to listen to what the Director of Emergency Services for St. Vincent St. Mary's Hospital said this week on ABC World News.
We're exhausted by the knowledge that we are the duct tape that is preventing a complete collapse of the healthcare system.
A pretty stunning statement there, the duct tape preventing the complete collapse of the healthcare system.
Yeah, and Dr. McCarty is an amazing physician. I've worked with him, and it's hard to hear him say that because I know the emotion that's coming out. As an ER physician, they can't say no. They can't close doors. They don't close doors. We took an oath. They're going to take care of everybody that comes through. But when there's so many people coming through and there's such a backlog and people are having to stay in the emergency room a little longer than they would like, it's exhausting. And then you go a few floors up in the hospital and you talk to the hospitalists, you talk to the intensivists, you talk to the specialists, and they're exhausted because they're taking care of really complex COVID patients on top of what we're normally talking about. You go to the outpatient world, you go to the primary care physicians that on top of seeing the diabetes and the high blood pressure, now they're seeing all the long COVID patients, and the COVID recovery clinics getting more and more and more full. And then be like me, like in a nursing home, you're just trying to put a bubble around your patients. You're trying to protect them the best you can, and it's exhausting. We don't want to see any more harm. I don't care if you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, what's coming in front of you. We took an oath and we're going to take care of you, but it gets exhausting over a time period as a group of physicians and nurses to know that there is a way to prevent this. And that's what's the hard part, I think.
And we've come so far in a year with regards to testing and obviously the vaccine, but you are very concerned about this wave and this winter.
Yeah, we call it waves of COVID-19 now. We see the spikes on the graph and all that. Omicron's not a wave. Omicron is a tsunami. And as we start to see how fast it replicates, South Africa, what we saw in what we're seeing in the UK, what we're seeing in New York, it's a level of replication that we could not have imagined. You remember almost 2 years back, I said this was this virus replicated like we'd never seen before. Now multiply that by factors of 70, and that's what we're starting to see in certain studies. So it's very scary, and we're not raising an alarm bell just to create panic. We're not trying to do something unrealistic. We're not saying lock it down. This is going to spread so fast and so powerful. We only have one defense right now, and that's to get as many people vaccinated as we can. And if you're eligible for a booster, if you're 16 or older and you're 6 months out from your shots, get boosted. That's the only way we're going to be able to protect given the level of spread.
So here marking that milestone of the first shots given for COVID-19 1 year ago, but that push continues today.
Yeah, a year later, all we're begging you to do on the behalf of all of healthcare, and I really mean begging, is get vaccinated if you're not vaccinated, and get boosted if you haven't gotten it yet.
Dr. Rye, we appreciate your time.